A very good morning to all of you children. I welcome you to class 11 session 2020-21. Now as we are having online classes these days, so I have recorded this video for your benefit. You will, as I said in the previous class, I think I told you that there are three texts that you will be following. One is Ecos, a collection of ISC short stories. And you have Reverie, which is a collection of ISC poems, and you will be following Tempest by William Shakespeare. You will be buying only this edition. Whenever you are buying, you will be buying only the Oxford edition, which is the authentic edition recognized by the council. Alright, so you will be buying the Oxford edition of the Tempest. Now in the previous class, I had given you the story Salvator to read. And I had also given you a summary for you to understand the story. The story is really very simple. There is nothing much to really worry about in the story. The story is set in an Italian island, and the story is about Salvatore, who is a fisherman's son, and the narrator of the story shows his growth from childhood to adulthood. The narrator knows him from when he was a 15-year-old. You know, that's not childhood but adolescence, you can say. And then he traces, the narrator or the author traces the growth of that 15-year-old boy Salvatore from 15 years of age up until his adulthood, when he becomes a fully grown and mature man. Now the a very interesting way has been employed by the author to begin the story. I wonder if I can do it. The statement itself introduces two things. Number one, the narrator has introduced himself as a character in the story. Though he is not an active part of the story, but he is a witness to the entire episodes that are happening. So like a witness, like an eyewitness, he relates the entire story, and it makes us believe because this person has seen it. Okay. Secondly, it arouses the curiosity of the reader, because the reader will definitely want to find out what it is that the narrator has set out to achieve. So it builds the curiosity of the readers, and the readers want to know what it is that the narrator has set out to achieve. So the reader will definitely read the entire story, because what the narrator has set out to achieve is mentioned only at the end of the story. Now, the story in itself is very easy to understand. I will just point out at the few key events which shapes his life and which you need to remember. Firstly, he is described as an adolescent who takes care of his brothers. He turns out to be very responsible and caring, and he makes sure that his brothers are fine and takes them for the midday meal. Next incident is he falls in love with a girl in Grande Marina. This is a place, and the girl is extremely pretty, and she is also very proud of her beauty. Alright, and he falls in love with her. However, in the European countries, the adolescent boys, after crossing their adolescence, they had to join the military service. So it was a compulsory rite of passage it is called, RITE, rite of passage. It was expected that European boys will join the military service. Therefore, Salvatore joins the military service, but he is a very simple and humble person who is used to living in a small island, freely roaming around all the time without any responsibilities or constraints as such. So he felt very homesick. He did not like living in a small ship. He joined the navy, as you've read, and he did not like the noisy, crowded cities, because he was used to staying in a very calm and peaceful island without the noise and the hustle and bustle of the city. Moving on, He felt terribly homesick and he wrote long, ill-spelled letters in his childlike handwriting. The quality that is focused upon most in Salvatore is his innocence and his childlike simplicity. And with that simplicity, he wrote letters to his fiancée, the girl with whom he was engaged, and he wrote about his feelings freely in those letters. Then he went to many places for his military service, and in China he fell terribly sick. He was diagnosed with rheumatism. Rheumatism is a disease of the bones, of the joints. You know, it pains the joints a lot. Usually people in old age get this disease, but he contracted this disease at a very young and early age. However, what is remarkable in him, please note, is that he was extremely calm and patient, and no matter how much he suffered quietly. And when he was told that he could not serve any longer because he was not physically fit to be in the army, instead of being sad that he might never get well in his entire life, he was extremely happy. His heart exulted with joy when he realized that he could go home, back to the place where he belonged and the people whom he loved so much. So when he goes back, everybody else is there to welcome him, but the girl is missing. And you know, as you have read the story, he goes in the evening to her house to figure out what has happened. And very bluntly and in a very straightforward manner, the girl simply rejects him because he says that he would never be strong enough to work like a man. All right, and he rejects. And this is one of the most important and the first, you can say, rejection in Salvatore's life. It should have filled him with bitterness, anger, hatred, but it does not have that kind of a negative effect on him. Rather, he takes it in a very positive way. Though he is sad and he goes home and he cries on his mother's bosom, but he accepts and understands the girl's situation. He empathizes with the fact that a girl would never get married to a fisherman if the fisherman was not strong enough, because a fisherman's life is full of physical struggles. All right, and if a man is not strong enough to work hard, then he will not be able to give her the life that she wants. So she simply rejects him, and he even empathizes with her situation and understands that no girl in her situation would do anything different. Moving on, his mother, Salvatore's mother, suggests that he gets married to Asanta. Initially, he comments about Asanta that she is ugly. But slowly, he also becomes empathetic towards Asanta's situation. She has also suffered a kind of loss, a kind of rejection, though very different from Salvatore's, yet in some way similar. Salvatore was rejected by the girl he loved so much, and Asanta's fiancé, whom she loved, had died during the military service in Africa. So she also had to bear up with a loss. However, they get married. He understands, he empathizes rather with her situation, and they get married and they have 2 children, both are boys. And his nature has been emphasized again and again, as though he has grown into full adulthood. He turns out to be very, very hardworking. He goes at night to catch fishes with his brothers. During the daytime, whenever he can, he works in the vineyard. Right? And then there are days when his body is simply racked with the pain of rheumatism, and he can do nothing but lie around on the beach and smoke cigarettes. Though passers-by, foreigners, come and see him and feel as if Italian fishermen like him are very lazy, but he doesn't take the negative comments negatively. He never says anything bad about anyone. In fact, he always has a pleasant and a kind word for everyone. Then he comes across as a responsible husband, a dutiful husband, and a caring father. When he takes his children to bathe in the sea, he does it so tenderly that his great rough hands are compared to flowers which are tender. Okay, and then in the end the narrator clarifies what he had started to do. Basically, he wanted to write a story that was about a simple fisherman like Salvatore, and he just wanted to portray the quality of goodness that was in him. Now, here comes the point I want you to think about. What is it that makes him good? Okay, he has many qualities: patience, understanding, empathetic, humble, caring, a dutiful father, a caring brother, a wonderful father. All right, as a son also, he seems obedient, he listens to his parents, he has extraordinary amount of patience. These are qualities that may be found in many people, right? But what sets him apart is that even though in life he faces rejections, okay, and dejections like rheumatism, okay, the disease, the pain must have been terrible for him, though we never get to understand that. The rejection from the girl whom he loved so dearly and passionately must have been quite heartbreaking for him. But in spite of all the negative things that happen in his life, they do not impact him negatively. Though he realizes life is not a bed of roses, life is full of struggles. Even after marriage, he has a hard enough life, struggling and working throughout the day. So he realizes in his life that life is not a bed of roses, it is filled with struggles. But what makes him good is that this does not change him into a bitter human being. Rather, it makes him even more accepting, and he is able to keep his innocence and humility alive till the end of his life. And that is what true goodness, real goodness is all about. Not being negatively impacted, but rather taking all rejections in one stride and facing the challenges with a pleasant demeanor. Why this story in your syllabus? Very easy to understand. The author wants you to understand that life is not going to be easy. Life will be full of struggles. There will be rejections, there will be hopelessness, there will be loneliness in life. But he wants us to understand that we should have the inner strength to keep our innocence and humility, simplicity alive. Because that is what makes us good, and that is what helps us to face the challenges of life. Alright, you can get a character sketch. Alright, I will be helping you out with the first character sketch, so you know exactly how you are supposed to frame the character sketch, which I will give you maybe by tomorrow or day after. Today I will be giving you the critical analysis of the story. Most of what I have said has been mentioned there. So read it, go through it. I'm sure you'll be able to understand everything clearly, and you have to note down the critical analysis in your registers. You are to make a register if you have a new one, or you will continue with your class 10 literature register. and you note down the critical analysis when I send you the character sketch. That also you will note down. I will make another short video where I will tell you how to draw a mind map of the story so that you can remember everything, and with the given instructions you will do it on your own. That will be your assignment. You will do it on your own at home in the register itself. Okay, thank you.